Good morning and Jai Hind children. We are discussing the chapter separation of substances in chemistry. Alright, and we have discussed what? The exercise of the book. That is, first choose the most appropriate answer and very short answer questions. So we are discussing actually the book exercise. That first was completed and the second exercise was going on. The second exercise is very short answer question. Here you have to write the answer just in one word. Alright now? So in previous class about 6 questions we have discussed. Now come to the question number 7. And the question is, which method gives a better separation of an insoluble solid? Can you remember that? Insoluble solid. Okay. And from a liquid, it will be sedimentation and decantation or filtration. Yes. So the suitable method is, best method is filtration. Now the next question number 8. Name the method which is used to speed up sedimentation. Only you have to name that method by which the rate of sedimentation get increase or speed up. So the process is loading. What is the process? Loading. In this process, what we have done? We have taken a piece of alum, tie it with thread, and hang it in the what? Yes, water which have very small impurities, very lighter impurities. So what will happen? They get loaded and easily get sedimented. Alright. Now come to the next question number 9. And the question is, which separation method is used to separate wheat grains from chaff? The wheat grains get separated from the whole plant, the chaff. So which method is used for it? Sure? Everyone? Yes. It is knowing. Knowing what happened? The lighter chaff particle move away with the wind. Is it? And the heavier grain particles falls on the same place and get collected. So this method is used to separate wheat grains from chaff. Now come to the next question number 10. Name the method used to obtain salt from sea water. How we obtain salt from sea water? The method is, yes, evaporation. Okay, in this process what happened? Water get heated and vaporized. And at last what is left? Salt is left. Okay, now next question number 11 is, which method will you use to get a pure liquid from a solution containing several soluble solids in the liquid? Just go through again one question. Which method will you use to get a pure solid? Okay, from the liquid solution containing several soluble solids in the liquid. So what method you will select to get the pure liquid? How the pure liquid can be obtained? Condensation. That method will be condensation. Okay. Now come to the next question number 12. And the question is, which apparatus is used to cool the liquid vapors during distillation? During distillation, what we are using? You have to name that apparatus, name that device which is used to cool the vapors. Which condenser? Levick's condenser. Okay, so liquids, condenser. Right? Now, the question number 13. Which apparatus is used to separate two immiscible liquid? Not miscible, immiscible. Which apparatus is used? Yes, it is separating funnel by which we have separated oil and water. Remember now? And the diagram of it is also given in your book. Right? So the name of apparatus is separating funnel. Question number 14. The method that can be used to separate a liquid from a mixture of miscible liquids with different boiling points is which kind of distillation? This distillation is known as what? In which the different substances are obtained on their different boiling points. It is fractional distillation. What it is known as? Yes, fractional distillation. And now the next question number 15. Solubility of most solids in water increases with rise in temperature. True or false? As we increase the temperature, so what will happen? Most solid, their solubility get increased. Yes, the statement is true. Okay. Now the question number 16 is, can water dissolve liquids and gases also? Your answer will be either yes or no. Can it dissolve? Yes, it can dissolve. And now the last question number 17. The solubility of common salt increases rapidly with rise in temperature. As the temperature get rises, so the solubility of common salt increases. Is it? It increases. True or false? What it will be? Then go through the question once again. The solubility of common salt means the common salt can dissolve more and more. Alright, in water. It get increased with the rise in temperature. As the temperature will increase. Yes, it is true. Okay. So this is all about your thoughts. One word answers. Understood everyone? The answers? Now come to the next book exercise. The next book exercise is, that is short answer question. And the answer of these questions you have to write in a sentence. In one sentence or two sentences. Not more than that. Okay. So the question number 1 is, you are given a sample of water. How will you find out whether it is pure or not? Children, how you will find out that given water is pure or it is not? It has some impurities in it. How can you find out? So there is a particular method for it. So children, if you are given some liquid or that water and you need to find out that it is pure or not, so simply what you have to do? You have to use its boiling point, because you know very well the pure water have the boiling point how much? 100 degree Celsius. Is it? And however, if there are dissolved substances in the water, then what will happen? Its boiling point goes up. So boiling point will get increased now if impurities are present there. So thus by measuring the boiling point, what we can say? What we will say? That the whether water is pure or not. If the boiling point is 100, so we can say that the water is pure. And if the boiling point is more than 100 degrees Celsius, so we can say that the water is impure. Alright, everyone. Now come to the next question number 2. And the question is, what is the principle used in the separation of mixture? How we can separate the mixture? So what is the principle used for it? So children, you can say that to separate a mixture into two constituents, we have to use some properties that one constituent has while the other do not have. Okay, the two property which is present in one and not present in second one, then we can separate it. If both have same property, so we cannot separate them. But if the property which is present in one and absent in second one, so we can separate them, like the boiling point. Alright, size, color, understood now? So these all are the property by which we can separate the mixture. Now the next question number 3, and listen the question carefully. To use a sieve to separate sand and rice seeds. We are using the sieve now for what? For separating the rice seeds and what? Sand particles which are present in them. What should be the size of the holes of the sieve in comparison to the size of sand particles and rice seed? The sieve have the small holes, you must have seen. So what may be that size of the small holes? More than rice seed or less than rice seed? Less than rice seed, but more than sand. Okay, the holes of the sieve must be more than the size of sand, but less than the size of rice seeds. Then we can separate the sand from the rice. Alright? Understood everyone now? Alright. Now come to the next question number 4. And the question is, which property of filter paper is used to separate an insoluble solid from a liquid? Which property of filter paper we are using for separating the insoluble solid? Yes, simply again, as the size of the hole present in the sieve, just like that, the size of the holes are the filter paper which have very fine holes which allow the liquid to flow through, but it does not allow the particles of an insoluble solid to move through it. Get it? And this helps us to separate the insoluble solid from the liquid. Get it? So what helps us to separate the insoluble solid by filter paper? The small holes, fine holes of filter paper help us, through which the liquid gets separated, but solid does not separate it. Okay. Now, number 5. We always talk about a saturated solution at a certain temperature. So why is the temperature specified? Why we are talking about temperature when we are talking about saturated solution? What is the relationship between them, children? So remember that when we have discussed about the saturated solution, so what I have told, the particles of the solid can be dissolved at the increase of temperature. Means if the temperature can increase, more solid can be dissolved in saturated solution. Okay, so simply that the temperature of a saturated solution is specified because the solubility of most substances increases with temperature. As the temperature increase, solubility increase. and as the temperature decrease, solubility decrease. Get it? That is why we are using the temperature also at the time of saturated solution. Get it? Understood? Now, come to the next question number 6. And the question is, under which condition can hand picking be used to separate the constituent of a mixture? Hand picking method, you know na, in which we are going to pick the impurities from our hand by our fingers, and this is known as hand picking. So you have to tell here that under which condition can hand picking be used. When we can use the hand picking method? When the particles of the what substance is having different color or different shape or different size, then we can use the hand picking. If the both the components in the mixture have same color, same size, same shape, so what will happen? It is very difficult to pick them one by one. Is it now? But if the one component is different color and second one is other color, so very easily we can pick one by one. Alright. So the hand picking method can be used if the particles have different color, different shape and different size. Get it? Understood everyone? Now come to the next question number 7. And the question is, why are objects at a distance seen more clearly after rain? When the rain occurs, so we can see the objects more clearly. Why? The reason. So children, simply the reason is the objects at a distance are seen more clearly after the rain because the loading of dust particles in the air takes place when it rains. You know that in the air very fine dust particles are there present. Is it not? So when they are moving, the dust particles are moving in the air. So what happened? We are not able to see very clearly far away places. But when rain happens, so that particles of dust get mixed with water of rain and get loaded and falls on the surface. Is it? And the air gets more clear. So we can see the objects far. Understood now? Everyone? So this is the reason that because of the loading of dust by rainwater. Alright. Now, number 8. And the question is, the process of adding alum to water to hasten substance sedimentation is called loading. If we want to fast the speed of what? Sedimentation. So what we are doing simply, we are doing the process of loading. Okay, so why has this name been given to this process? Why the name loading is given to this process? So children, very simply, loading means to increase the weight of something. That is loading. Alright. So we are also going to increase the weight of very light particles like dust particles. We are increasing its weight. Okay. That is why this process is known as loading. So to load means what? To make it heavier. To make something heavier. And in loading, the fine, very fine suspended particles are made heavier to make them settle down easily. That is why this process is known as loading. What the reason? Why it is known as loading? Alright. So this is all about short answer question. And I hope that you understood all the answers. Is it now? Everyone? Now come to the next exercise of the book, that is long answer question. Long answer question. Children, you have to write the answers of these questions in a paragraph. Get it? So come to the first question number 1. And the question is, what is the difference between homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture? Give an example of each mixture. What you have to do here? You have to differentiate homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture with example. So children, you know very well that homogeneous mixture is a mixture in which the constituents are uniformly spread. Is it? And each part of the mixture has the same properties. And the example of this mixture is mixture of sugar and water. Okay. Mixture of sugar and water is an example of homogeneous mixture. And now the heterogeneous mixture, it is a mixture in which the constituents are not uniformly spread and each part does not have the same properties. Means different part have different properties. And the example is what? Mix of iron filings in sand. When we mix the small pieces of iron in sand, so what will happen? It will form which kind of mixture? Heterogeneous mixture. Alright, understood both of them? Now, come to the next. And the question is, list three properties of mixture. How many properties of mixture you have to note down? Three properties. So come one by one. The first property of mixture is the constituents of a mixture may be in any ratio. The ratio may be of any one. There is no fixed ratio. You can say that. Alright. So this is one of the property of mixture, that the ratio is not fixed. Second property is they retain their individual property. Whatever the substances which are present in the mixture, they all have their own property. The property remain the same. Property is not going to finish. Get it? And the third one is the constituents can be separated by simple method. We can separate by simple method, either by hand picking or by using a magnet, okay, or by winnowing, like that. Alright? So these are the properties of mixture. Now, and the question is, give two situations where it is necessary to separate a mixture into its constituent. You have to tell two conditions. Okay, you have to tell that two situations when it is necessary to separate the mixture. Otherwise, we cannot use it without separating. So, what may be the two situation? The first one, to remove undesirable constituent. If in a mixture one is desirable and another is not desirable, it is waste, like the small pieces of sand present in the rice. Is it done? So before cooking the rice, we are going to separate because that pieces of stones are undesirable. Alright, this is why the separation is required. So this is the first situation, that to remove undesirable constituents. And the example, harmful substances which are present in river water. We are going to separate them, filter them. We are filtering the water. Okay. Second situation is to obtain useful constituent. If we want to get the useful substance from the mixture, so what we have to do? We have to separate the mixture. Okay, and the example, like butter can be obtained from milk or curd. Is it? By what? By churning it. When the milk or the curd is get churned. Alright, so what gets separated? Butter gets separated from the milk, and butter is an useful substance. So for getting the useful substance, we are going to do the method of separation. Okay? So these are the two situations by which what happened? We separate the constituents of a mixture. Alright? Now the next question number, and the question is, draw a level diagram to show the arrangements used to filter a mixture of a liquid and an insoluble solid. Children, here only you have to draw the diagram of what? Sedimentation, decantation and filtration. And all the diagrams are there in the book. That already I have told at the time of explanation. Draw it. Remember the diagram of sedimentation. How you will draw? You will draw a beaker. You will draw a beaker in which water will be there and some impurities are present there. Some small particles are present there. So in the process of sedimentation, what will happen? These particles, solid particles, will get settled in the water. Okay, this is sedimentation and decantation, pouring this water in another beaker. That is decantation. Alright, so you will pour this water by tilting the beaker. What you are going to do? The water is coming out. Get it? And get collected in another beaker. So this is what? Decantation. So all the solid will remain here in this beaker. So sedimentation you will draw decantation and you will also draw filtration. Remember how the filtration method takes place. What we use in filtration method? We use a funnel, yes, and we use the filter paper in it. Below the funnel, what we do? Yes. Okay, the mixture, the liquid which have solid impurities kept in this filter paper. What happened? All the solid remain here on the filter paper, and the liquid is going to collect it. So this is filtration. So these three diagrams you need to draw in this question. All right, and no need to write in this question anything. Only this diagram you will draw. Now come to the next question number 5. Question number 5. Children, the question number 5 is also a diagram based question. And here you have to draw the level diagram of the apparatus used to distill out pure water from a solution. Which diagram you will draw? You will draw the process of distillation. The diagram is there now. In which, what is there? Funnel is there. Okay, its mouth is closed. Alright, a pipe is kept here, is it? And this pipe is going to move in another beaker where the water which have impurities gets heated. So what will happen? The vapors will come and the vapors will go through this pipe. This pipe has a condenser. Which condenser? Yes, Lipitz condenser. So that vapors get cooled because of this condenser. And after cooling, it comes in the form of water and get collected here. So this is the distilled water. Which water is this? Distilled water. And this process is known as distillation. Alright. So this diagram you have to draw in this question. Understood now? And label also. Now come to the next question number 6. And the question number 6 is, how will you separate a mixture of gases, pebbles and sand? 3 substances are there in the mixture. What? Some gases are there. Pebbles are there. Pebbles known as small pieces of stones. And sand, very fine pieces, particles of sand. You can say that sand. If you have the mixture of these three things, grasses and the pebbles and the sand, so how you will separate it? Simply you will separate it in three steps. In first step, what you will do? Pebbles can be separated by hand picking because the size of the pebbles are large enough. So you can separate it one by hand picking method. Okay. Now only two things are left in the mixture. So in the second step, what you will do? The grass can be separated by filtration. How the grass can be separated? Yes, by filtration. And the sand can be separated by sedimentation and decantation. Okay, because the sand particle can settle down in the bottom. So you will use the three methods: hand picking method, filtration method, and sedimentation and decantation method to separate all three substances from the mixture. Get it? Now, question number 7. And the question is, explain with the help of a diagram how can a mixture of oil and water be separated. We have discussed it with the help of a diagram. The mixture of oil and water, how we can separate? Remember? Hmm? Yes, we can separate it by the method of what? Separating funnel. Separating funnel is used now to separate the mixture. Alright. So simply we will use the separating funnel to separate the mixture of oil and water. Get it? Understood everyone? Alright. So this is all about today's class. Thank you and have a nice day, student.